Hello, I'm David Steinmetz, and I'm co-author with Joseph Selbie of a book called The Yugas. Now, probably you haven't heard much about the Yugas. That's because we hadn't written the book yet, but here it is. What it is a very ancient idea coming from India originally. And in this idea, the earth is seen as a classroom. But it's kind of like a one-room classroom, you know? You have to all have the classes. It's like a college that only has classes for freshmen for a while, and then it changes and has classes for sophomores, and another time for juniors, and another time for seniors, and then it starts all over again. This is like history is the story of classes for souls that come to incarnate on the earth. Everyone is here to learn, to experience, to fulfill desires, and so we come at a time that's appropriate just for us. So the people that are incarnated at one particular time need the lessons that are available at that time and the opportunities. So each age, and they're called yugas, yuga means a cycle, each age has different characteristics, and it's attracted different souls to incarnate at that time. And so this book, The Yugas, is the story of these ages. And we're in an age now, which we've just entered. It's called Dwapara Yuga. That's from the Sanskrit terms. We're in an age just now that's appropriate for people who want to deal with energy. But we've come from a time called the Kali Yuga when people were not so energetic and they don't know exactly how to handle that. And so we're having to learn how to deal with energy. And that's our lesson for now. In a different age, there'd be different lessons. And if you go around a cycle, a lesson for people, the Kali age, for people who they need to learn to do things for themselves. They need to learn to expand, to learn to read, to learn to, you know, it's not available to everybody to make money or that sort of thing. And so what's good for them is to do some things like becoming an entrepreneur. But then the Dwapara age, which follows, the one we're in, is perfect for a merchant, for someone who wants to deal with a whole lot of power and energy. But with it comes the tests. How do we deal with that energy? How do we deal with that? How do we keep from blowing up the whole earth? We wouldn't have that problem if we didn't have the opportunity. We wouldn't have the opportunity to learn that lesson unless we had the energy. So here we are in the time when it's appropriate for us to learn those things. And so we learn to bring things to ourselves. Everybody wants something for themselves. But what does a really wealthy person do? If they're successful inwardly and learn their lesson, they become a philanthropist. They give away and serve others. And that brings to the next stage where people just naturally serve everybody. So each age has its own lessons. And so what we do is go through the cycle in our book and explain the characteristics of the ages and show how they've been played out in history. And it's really a very exciting story.